Oh, hi. Welcome back. What? You're gonna have to speak up. I can't hear ya. I said I can't hear ya. Oh, I see. We better get going then. Welcome to the picture. Today I'm starting with the border taped off around my paper and a big old pack of Cray-Pas expressionist pastels. I cut this paper down to about an 8x10 because that was the picture frame size I had on hand, and I didn't really feel like going out to buy more. And with this loop, the picture starts. Today's painting is an ear, keeping in with the body part motif for Old Rosie Man. This paper, holy crap is it ever bad. It's like drawing on sandpaper. It's the physical sensation of nails on a chalkboard. It's the first time you put your shoes on after you step into a puddle and the insole is all squishy. It is a bad sensation for these pastels. I'm pretty much in agony the whole time I'm drawing here. It's not surprising that this is bad. It's marketed as watercolor paper, but it's 90-pound wood pulp paper. I got almost 1,000 sheets for about $10 on an auction, so I'm just begging for ways to use it. Starting with the lobe and making it the vibrant shades of a moldy lemon. I think the ear is my favorite part of the side of the head for sure. All loops and soft edges. As always, keeping my trusty mop brush on standby. Starting to add some contrast to the shadowier parts. Seriously though, this paper. I'm gonna keep coming around to the topic because it makes my hair stand on end. I'm glad I'm using pastels and not like markers or something because I can't imagine this tooth would be good for the nibs. Maybe a hard bullet nib, but certainly not a brush nib. Peeling these pastels is always a fun thing. I poke a hole in the wrapper with my Sgraffito tool and only reveal as little as I can get away with. The wrapper is actually very important structurally. Anyone who's used crayons before knows they snap at the drop of a hat, and the same is true for their cousins the oil pastels. Actually, if you really want to be snooty, crayons are also pastels, specifically wax pastels. You can even get adult versions of the Crayola you grew up with. Caran d'Ache is probably the most well-known brand, with the Neocolors 1s and 2s. 1s are regular crayons, while the 2s are water-soluble. Actually, Mungio also makes a water-soluble pastel. I know a lot of people who buy the 2s and cut them up and put them into a watercolor pan for easy travel pans. I'm trying to make the ridge in the ear canal opening look like it has light on it, while still having a shadow on each side. It's hard, folks. I think I get the lines a little bit too harsh, but it's really hard to blend on this paper. Not sure why I even bothered to stay with this paper and not just get a new sheet of maybe my blue tone or even some tear-out sheets from another book. I think I just didn't want to destroy, heavy quotation marks, a sheet of nice paper by cutting it. Moving on to another of the ear loopies. I'm trying to keep it cohesive and also colorful with the greens. Most of the lightened parts of the ear are either green or orange depending on... I don't think there's much rhyme or reason to it. Bit of yellow and green making up the ridge at the top of the ear. I thought it was always a little bit odd that the ears are such sensitive little organs. I mean, they don't do much other than just sit there. Most people can't even move them. And yet if you've ever seen a sensory homunculus, they're enormous. I can understand needing to know if they're, like, injured or something, but it's a little bit silly. Ear facts. Did you know that the 3 bones in the inner ear originally were bones connected to the jaw? Reptiles have either one or no bones in what could generously be considered the inner ear, which, if present, usually places the eardrum flush with the side of the head. Some reptiles have no ear at all. Snakes hear by placing their jaw on the ground and feeling vibrations. Our ancient ancestors probably heard the same way, but when our lineage diverged from reptiles, a small mammal that lived 120 million years ago had a unique mutation. The bones of the inner ear were no longer directly connected to the jaw. This allowed for hearing and chewing to be separate actions, and eventually allowed for the perception of higher frequencies. You can thank little Orogletes Lee for all those little mosquitoes driving you wild. Nearly done with the ear, just gotta add a few finishing touches and smooth a few rough edges. After the ear, I move on to the hair. It's Just a quick scribble with the teal color that Rosie Man had on his noggin. I used some of the extender, that's a stick of all binder and no pigment, to spread the color and make it a bit textured. The idea with the hair and the skin is to make the ear feel like it's washed up on a beach. It's a bit silly, but what can you do? The art makes what it wants. It's been so long since I've been to a beach. I think it was... well, I went to a lake about 2 years ago, but it was frozen over. Do you think that counts? The last time that it definitely counted was about 4 or 5 years ago when I went to Vancouver Island to visit my mom. That was a pretty fun week. We took off about midnight and got to the ferry by 10 p.m. the next day. The trip through the mountains. That wasn't even fun a little bit. It was frozen slush, pitch dark, and I had problems with both winter and nighttime driving. To be honest, I'm getting flashbacks just thinking about it. There was that neat encounter with the train, with the road coming up and over the rails that run parallel to it. That's the only good bit until the sun came up. And bang! Trusty mop brush over the whole thing and then a bit of shading to the sides of the ear. After that, it's onto the texture in the hair to make sure it looks like waves. Kind of. In hindsight, it doesn't look the best, but it's better than it was for sure. Gotta use that tape for something at least, to clean up the pastel. They get terribly dirty when you mix the colors together. Tape is peeled. I love the peelies. Gotta get better at it though, I keep tearing up the paper when I pull. This is automotive tape. I was told it's the most delicate adhesive for keeping things intact, but I'm wondering if that's actually the case now looking at it. When I sign it, the dang signature is wrong. It's supposed to be 22, not 21. Alright, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure having you over at my house again today. If you like this video, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment on your favorite part of the video. Have a good day.